What's up, everybody? Going live a little bit. I didn't do the countdown, so my apologies. I'm just getting things started here. I'm going to put the poll up here real quick. Yeah, I'm trying to get. I don't know what I'm doing with the beard yet. I haven't quite figured it out, Bodie Beard. Haven't quite figured it out, but we'll get there. Hold on one second. I put up the poll. Let me know if you guys actually watched boxing this weekend. Thanks, 1D Lee. I actually used to sell this. Maybe I should bring it back. What do you think? What do you think? Give me your thoughts. Would you buy this shirt? Would you support Own the Chaos by buying this shirt? I know a couple people actually still have this. If you guys ever see the lost one in the chat, I know that he has one. Jake Lipton is long on Zoom. Oh, well, the 1D Lee says they'd buy one. All right. I mean, I'll think about it. I'll think about bringing it back. Of all the shirts that I've made, this is definitely the one that's gotten the most comments, for sure. When the Bulls come back to the OTC. Who knows when that's going to happen? Yeah, this shirt's probably, I'd say it's about 5 years old, maybe. It's like one of the very first shirts that I made when I started OTC. All right, let's get started. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and I made it my mission to help you guys own it. It has been an interesting day today. We have earnings on deck today, and we have Occidental Petroleum, which is a major investment of Warren Buffett's, which, if you guys caught this morning's live stream, we had a really interesting conversation about Warren Buffett and everything that he had to say in his annual letter over the weekend, which, I thought was interesting. There were some interesting points. One of them, he made towards buybacks and how the Biden administration doesn't necessarily, he didn't really call out the Biden administration, but just kind of talked about how there's this negative connotation to stock buybacks, and basically made the argument for talked as if, if you are against stock buybacks, then maybe you should do a little bit more research and understand what stock buybacks do actually for the actual investor, right? And we'll get into this a little bit more if you guys want to chat about it. But what he said about that was absolutely on point. I mean, if you dilute a stock, it's terrible for the investor. You don't want to invest in a stock that has a shit ton of shares. So if you're buying them back, you're rewarding the people who've trusted you and have believed in your product all the way up until this point, right? So stock buybacks actually incentivize investors to come back. It's a good thing for the stock market. And Warren Buffett went into a lot more detail than I am, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with stock buybacks, and the government in general that has a problem with that just clearly have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Listen, I know I dropped the F-bomb earlier in the show, so apologies for that. I know that there may be kids watching, so let me apologize. I got a little heated. Listen, I don't shy away from the F word here on the stream, so it only comes out every once in a while, but I'll try to keep it at bay. Nevertheless, looking at the markets right now, I'm looking at the S&P 500. That's up 0.25%. It's actually at its session lows, so we're at the lows of the day, but we're still green, up 0.25%. The Dow's up 0.2%. Nasdaq's up 0.5%, which is a far cry from the 1.2% that it was up earlier today, and it's only up 67 points. And the crude oil's also back down big time, and we're going to be covering Occidental Petroleum after the bell, but this is sitting at down of WTI crude. Looking in at Bitcoin, that was up 500 points this morning when we had our morning live stream, and now is down 405 points or $405 per Bitcoin, sitting at 23,243 per Bitcoin. It's been very interesting to see how Bitcoin has been moving all over the place. We'll see where that ends up. But my arm keeps getting cut off. That's because it's a green screen, Scott Sherwood. Appreciate you noticing. This actually isn't my home. Whoop. But yeah, so anyways, we'll get into more of that, and we'll talk about some more things as well later on today. Zoom has earnings this evening, this afternoon, this evening, depending on where you're watching. Also, I just noticed this. I feel like I'm a bit dark. Do you mind if I change the lighting a little bit? I feel like I'm a bit dark. Let's brighten me up a little bit. That's probably better. Yeah, that's good. So anyways, I'm still getting used to the green screen thing. How to use it, how to perfect it, how not to look like a zombie when I'm on stream. I go back and forth on what I should do with the green screen or just having a full-blown studio and have you guys just check out everything I got. But Scott Sherwood was liking that sofa. It's not bad. It's not bad, right? I guess that means the lighting wasn't too bad for you to actually make, to actually believe that was a real sofa behind me. But I appreciate you, Scott. Before we get started with anything else, let me hit up my starting five. The 1D lead, Bodie Beard, Yoda Best, Mo Thomas, Pastor David Hopper. You guys are my starting five. If you missed the starting five today, it could be because you're not subscribed and you didn't show up early. Hit that notification bell to get notified when I go live at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time in the afternoon, as well as 9 a.m. Eastern time in the morning. I go live in the morning and in the afternoon to cover all earnings as well as anything else that's going on in the market. If you guys want more coverage, you want breaking news with no bullshit, no schemy, no slimy titles and thumbnails. You know what I'm talking about. You guys have seen it. If you don't want any of that bullshit, come here at Own the Chaos and just get the news, man. Just get what's going on. So I see that Savvy Money Show is also writing free shares on Occidental Petroleum and HIMS. So HIMS also is reporting this afternoon. We have Occidental Petroleum, Zoom, Workday, HIMS. Those are your kind of highlights, if you will. Vimeo is also reporting this afternoon. Tons of other tiny companies. We can react to them if it actually makes sense to cover them. But let's go ahead and check out Occidental Petroleum. Okay, so Occidental Petroleum. We'll pull up the chart here on Oxy. OXY is that ticker symbol. Been trying to get in the habit of letting people know what the ticker symbol is. I've had a lot of complaints about, like, can you at least tell me what it is? I didn't think, you don't realize that people may not know what the ticker symbol is to a lot of the stuff, especially if you're newer to trading. And I certainly appreciate that. But so thanks for keeping me honest. But Occidental Petroleum is expected to come in today with earnings per share of $1.83 and $8.21 billion in revenue. The interesting part is that the street, the analysts that cover this stock, 17 downward revisions, not one upward revision whatsoever. Isn't that crazy? I almost think that that's probably more of a contrarian view, or a contrarian indicator, I should say. You look at Occidental Petroleum, and it is having a halfway decent day. It's just pretty much flat. But over the last 52 weeks, it's been pretty damn good. Over the last year, we've seen this stock perform, and it is up 52% over the last 52 weeks. Year to date, it's a little bit of a different story. It's down 3.5%, so no big deal. But forward PE on this evaluation is at 6.2 times, 6.02 times next year's earnings. That is stupid cheap for a company that is growing as much as it is from a revenue standpoint. And we talked about this at the top of the show about buybacks and that sort of thing. And that's what Occidental Petroleum does. That's why Warren Buffett loves this stock. You look at revenue growth year over year, it's up 63.62%. Unbelievable, right? And look, oil and energy is a whole different ball game. It's a whole different bag of worms, only because, you never know what's going to be happening with the energy sector. There's so many factors that go into play here. And, you know, you really have to look at this from a macro perspective as far as energy is concerned. And I get that. I would say that if you were Warren Buffett and bought this after it went up 500% from its bottom, you probably didn't make the greatest buy in the world, but I do think it goes higher from here. So we'll continue to keep an eye on Occidental Petroleum. They'll be coming in on their earnings in about 6 minutes is when the market closes. And so we can take a look at Zoom next. Zoom, gosh, I mean, what? This has been a stock, obviously, that everybody has just hated for a while now. We saw highs of Zoom. This is your weekly chart, but this doesn't even where the highs are. You look at, we scroll back here, and you can see the highs are at $588 a share. That's when we were seeing growth from Zoom at 100% or 120% year over year, and it was growing at 80% quarter over quarter, right? We're never going to see those numbers ever again from Zoom, but they are doing some things that are quite innovative. And I think it's worth taking note of. The stock is trading at 18 times next year's earnings. It's not expensive by any stretch of the imagination, and it's growing at 11, 12% year over year. I think that that's certainly respectable. It's down 44.5% over the last 52 weeks. It's up 10% since the beginning of the year, which is outperforming the S&P 500, by the way. And I think that there's certainly some things to be optimistic about as far as Zoom is concerned. They're expected to come in at 82 cents per share. $1.10 billion in revenue, 4 upward revisions to 1 down. And look, you know, Zoom has gone through the ringer for the last 18 months, 24 months, and rightfully so. We're not going to see that growth ever again from Zoom that we saw over the pandemic. But you can't take away from the fact that even with all of that growth that they saw, that they are still growing at a really good clip. 10%, 11% year over year is pretty damn good for a company like this that saw so much growth over the pandemic. Does that mean the stock's going to go up? No, not necessarily. But I do think that there is something to like here with Zoom, and I don't think it deserves to be dismissed right away. Jeff Chow said Zoom went boom. Yeah, what's up, Jeff Chow? Chocolate. What's up, my man? 72 of you guys in here. Make sure you hit that like button. I certainly would appreciate it. I'm sure we'll start to see more people rolling as we get in closer to these earnings. But guys, let me know what you guys are, super pumped about. Just checking in a poll. 50% of you so far are happy that Jake Paul lost to Tommy Fury over the weekend, and 21 say no. Over 30% of you says who's Jake Paul. And do you guys not know who Gervonta Davis is? The 50% of you that responded yes, that you're happy that Jake Paul lost to Tommy Fury, is it just because you hate Jake Paul, or is it that you don't know anything about boxing in general? Gervonta Davis, Baltimore native, so of course I would know who he is. He's an absolute beast, man. Suzu says, I'm glad I don't know who these See You Next Tuesdays are. Bodie Beard said the fight looked good to me. Listen, man, if Jake Paul went up against Gervonta Davis, it would be over in 1 round. Period. Gervonta Davis is the GOAT. Tank is the man. Okay, so we covered Zoom, we covered Occidental Petroleum, then we have Workday, and this is a company that I think certainly has some legs to it. It's done pretty well over the last year. Not so much. It's down 19%, but it's actually not bad considering all the other tech stocks and what they've done, right? So 20% based off of a lot of stocks that are down 70 to 90%. Actually not too bad. Since the beginning of the year, it's also done quite well. This is your weekly chart on Workday. Their expected earnings per share is to be around 90 cents per share. They're expected to also bring in $1.63 billion. And Wall Street is dead split on Workday. 14 upward revisions to 14 down. That is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm with the analysts that are bullish on Workday. I think that there's a lot to like here still. The growth is phenomenal for a company of this size. They're growing at 22% year over year. And we'll have to see if that continues when we hear from these earnings today. But the company is expensive. And I think that that's also something worth considering. It's trading at 51 times next year's earnings. And so I'm not going to take away from that. It is expensive. Make no mistake. But it's growing at 22%, 23% year over year. And they expect to grow like that for the next several years, probably the next decade. Year to date, it's up 9.25%. If you guys aren't familiar with Workday, maybe you should check it out. They provide enterprise cloud applications in the U.S. and internationally. The company's applications help its customers plan, execute, analyze, and extend other applications and environments to manage their businesses and operations. I actually used Workday when I worked for T. Rowe Price. That was my last job before I went YouTube full time. I actually used Workday as an employee for like asking for time off and that sort of thing, and making my schedule and all of that. So Workday is actually really useful, and the fact that they've been growing and it's very scalable. The growth here is certainly wonderful. It's a great platform. If you guys aren't familiar with Workday, just check it out. It's not one of those sexy stocks that you're going to see all over YouTube or all over social media, but it is a moneymaker, and we like moneymakers around here. So make sure you guys check that out. That is Workday. They're expected, again, to report earnings today. We got about less than a minute to go for earnings, and we have HIMS as well. HIMS and HERS, technically, is going to be reporting today. That is ticker symbol HIMS. And they have been doing really well. From their bottom at 272 back in May of last year, they've done phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal. The growth for HIMS is actually quite good. I use HIMS products. That's probably TMI. Probably TMI. Not going to lie. Now the jokes are going to come. Oh, I just opened the door for you. I use their shampoo and their conditioner. HIMS is actually pretty good as far as that's concerned. I got to keep this flow going, the hair. I got to keep the hair going. The Undertaker says, cringe thumbnail. Yet you clicked on it anyway. So is it cringe? Because you worked. You did it. You clicked on it. It worked. Either way, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you hanging out. Z-Rider says that was TMI. Listen, everybody suffers from male pattern baldness. The Undertaker now thinks I'm a narcissist. Cool. Hey, listen, the block button is real easy to push. You can either be nice or be a dick and then get kicked. That's basically all there is to it. 110 of you guys watching. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of your afternoon. Hit that thumbs up. I certainly would appreciate it. Yep. Okay, the Undertaker is getting out of here. Now you're going to shit on my shirt after everybody just loved it. Bye, bitch. Bye. All right, so markets are officially closed. Let's take a look at what's moving right now. Workday is already up 2.25%. 5-minute chart says we got a boner candle on our hands. Look at this. It's up 2%. What a move. Already was up 1% on the day today. Let's take a look and see what kind of earnings we got from Workday. Yeah, I mean, people that talk shit, they just think that I can't push the block button. It's real easy. Like I said, you can be respectful or you can just not be. Choice is yours. Let's take a look here on Workday and see what kind of numbers we got. All right. Workday's numbers came in and they look pretty darn good so far. Let's see what we got. Just doing a couple cross references here to make sure I got accurate numbers. Stock's still moving pretty good. It's up almost 3% after hours. Looking to see what these numbers are. I'm still just searching here, guys. Just bear with me. But yeah, it is moving pretty good. Pretty decent move on Workday. As I'd mentioned at the top of the show, I felt pretty good about Workday's earnings. the growth story for them is awesome. Adjusted earnings per share, 99 cents versus the 91 cents that was expected. Sales came in at 1.65 billion versus the 1.63 that was expected. So solid beat there. But as we know, earnings don't tell us the whole story. The outlook has to be there too. So I'm looking to find those outlook numbers, but those are your preliminary numbers on Workday. They crushed the expected earnings per share. There's about 200 of you guys watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. I certainly would appreciate it. If you are here for the first time, hit that thumbs up. I certainly appreciate that as well. And hit that notification bell. If you guys want up-to-date earnings reactions as earnings are coming in, this is your channel. I react to earnings every Monday through Thursday evening at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. And then I'm also here before the stock market opens at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So I'm here in the morning with you guys before the market opens, and I'm here in the afternoon. If you want to react to some of these earnings and some of the other news that's happening all across the stock market, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Would love to have you guys hanging out with me. Bodie Beard said I buried the Undertaker. That for sure I did. Yeah, for sure, Jeff Chow. It is a bull. It is a bull. It's not satanic shirt at all. People just are blind, I guess. Daily compilation says you lost some weight, Big Boy. Do I look? I don't look like Big Boy. That's also an insult. I don't know if I appreciate that comment, but all right. So that is Workday. Zoom starting to move here a little bit too, and that is taken off. It's now up 4% after hours. Let's look at this. This is still moving. Oh my gosh, it's popping off. At the top of the show today, I mentioned that, not necessarily that Zoom was something to be bullish on, that I was bullish on, but I think that it just went overlooked as far as, their earnings overall are concerned. And here we have it. It was up as much as 5% and now has dipped down 4%. Back in the green. It is all over the place right now. These earnings numbers have just come out. I'll come back and revisit Workday, but Zoom right now is moving, and it is all over the place. As soon as I have those numbers, I'll be happy to share those with you. I'm just going to continue to hit refresh here. So as soon as they come in, you'll have them. But yeah, what a crazy reaction to Zoom right now. It was up as much as 5%, now down, or then it went down, around 4%, now back up. It is everywhere. The algos can't figure out how to trade this just yet. But it's still staying in the green for now. Still early. We'll see. But getting back to my earlier point, I thought that with Zoom, we were never going to see the growth that we saw over the pandemic, right? But the 11, 12% that we had seen it grow since the pandemic certainly shouldn't go unnoticed. And it's trading at 18 times next year's earnings, which is in line with the S&P 500. I think it probably could, bring about a premium if they announce further growth, and we'll see what their earnings have to say. So it's now up 2.5%. Again, still early. We'll see what these numbers are as soon as I get them. We already reacted to Workday, which had a pretty decent afternoon. Here we go. Zoom came in at $1.22 versus the 80-cent estimate. They crushed it. Sales came in at 1.12 billion versus the 1.10. So a really decent beat on sales as well, on revenue. And those are your preliminary numbers. Of course, guidance has to be there too. Let's take a look and see some of the other highlights from Zoom. So year-end number of customers contributing to more than $100,000 in trailing 12-month revenue, up approximately 27% year over year. That's something to be excited about. Fourth quarter enterprise revenue of $636.1 million, up 18% year over year. Full fiscal year enterprise revenue of $2.4 million, up 24% year over year. The growth year is substantial, guys. In fiscal year, this is a quote from the CEO. In the fiscal year 2023, our growing base of enterprise customer increasingly looked to Zoom to provide seamless communication and collaboration platform and drive productivity and efficiency during turbulent times. That was from the CEO, Eric Yuan. This was evident in the 27% growth in customers contributing to more than 100,000 in trailing 12-month revenue, as well as 115% trailing 12-month net dollar expansion rate for enterprise customers. Zoom One adoption continued to accelerate and helped drive Zoom Phone to grow more than 100% year over year, surpassing 5.5 million seats in Q4. Our emerging technologies such as Zoom Contact Center picked up the pace as customer experience teams recognize the value of modern integrated collaboration solutions. While the macroeconomic situation continues to negatively impact our overall growth, we have maintained a healthy balance sheet and operating cash flow generation of approximately $1.29 billion. And that's from the CEO. And this is a good point. You know, obviously the CEO is going to be biased. It's his company. But I use all kinds of platforms to video call people, what have you. Zoom is by far the best, period. Teams is absolute dog shit. And I really can't tell you if there's a better one out there than Zoom. From a UI standpoint, user interface standpoint, Zoom is just there. Zoom is fantastic. So I'm not saying that it's time to go all in on Zoom, but the stock's up 4%. The growth is way higher than what was expected. And their outlook actually looks pretty damn good too. You know, I had mentioned this at the top of the show. Like I had mentioned, I think that there is a lot to like here with Zoom. And I think that, you know, the hate that they have gotten, you know, since the heights of the pandemic has now just gone way too far. Does it deserve to be a $600 stock? Absolutely not. But could it stand to be $100? I think so. I think it could stand to take that premium, especially with that kind of growth. I like Zoom here, and I thought they had a great quarter. So it's continuing to move up here. It's up over 4% after hours, and it's doing quite well. One interesting move here is on Workday. Looking at Workday here, it was up 5%, and now it was just red, just spiked red, and now just barely hanging on to the green. If you guys didn't catch Workday's earnings, they actually came in and had a decent quarter, I thought. But they beat on earnings per share. They beat on revenue. Of course, it always comes down to guidance. Perhaps maybe the guidance wasn't what people were hoping for. They came in at $1 per share, beating the estimate by about 10 cents. They came in at $1.65 billion. Sorry, beats by $20 million. They don't have Google numbers. Sorry, but they came in subscription revenues of $1.5 billion, and that's up 21% year over year, 22% year over year. 24-month subscription revenue backlog of $9.68 billion. That's up 21.3% year over year. Total subscription revenue backlog of 16.45, and that is up 28.4% year over year. So really great numbers from Workday. They just continue to just truck along. So far today, to start out the week, these earnings aren't bad. Aren't bad at all. I'm digging it. And here we have HIMSS. That's starting to move now too. That's up 2%. And this is certainly something that we can take a look at. Some of you guys were asking about HIMSS, so I wanted to make sure that I covered it. HIMSS or HERS. The shampoo's legit. Just saying. No real numbers on that just yet, even though the stock is moving up. It's on some low volume, so let's see here. I mean, I should probably get him as the sponsor of the channel, to be honest with you. What do you think? Checking in on some of the comments here. John Quagian? I butchered the hell out of that name, so sorry about that. Oxy's going to run. Jeff Chow says that I've lost some weight. Nope, still the same weight. I promise. I haven't lost anything. Zoom should either do a buyback or acquisition or pay down debt. They probably will. I think they will. Pastor David Hopper says, I love it when a plan comes together. And then Hambone says, agree, we have worked remote with distributed teams for 10 years, and Zoom was a game changer, far superior to Google, Skype, Teams, the best UI. Yeah, absolutely. Let's Sursa shampoo. I knew somebody was going to get on me about that. Nima Dog, yes. Listen, I ain't going to, listen, I'll be fully transparent. I'm losing the hair up here, up top. I got that, what's that called? Male pattern baldness? Take after my daddy. My dad started losing hair up here, up top too. So I got to take care of that. I ain't afraid to admit it. Hey, listen, happens to the best of us. What's up, Don? Good to see you, my man. Yeah, so Don from the Don Front Show tuning in. If you guys want to help support us, help support this channel, as well as Don from the Don Front Show, get your learn on when it comes to options, as well as how to grow a small account, go check us out over at ownthechaos.com, or I'm sorry, patreon.com/ownthechaos. I'm never going to get used to that. And help support us that way. It's $5 a month. You can come be a part of the Chaos crew. And Don just put up a bunch of alerts this morning about his TQQQ trade, and he did quite well. So that was on a small account. If you guys want to have access to that, as well as my top 5 stocks to watch every week, go check us out. For $5 a month, you can't beat it. It's great. It's great value. Helps support us, and it doesn't really hurt your wallet at all. We certainly would appreciate it. Checking back in with Zoom, that stock is up nearly 6%. Good stuff there. Occidental Petroleum moving all over the place. It did pop green. Now can't decide what direction it wants to go. It was red as shit and now going back to green. It's up around 0.5%. Let's see what those numbers came in at. I'm going to pull that up here real quick as soon as I can. Let's see what kind of numbers we got. Nothing I'm seeing so far. As soon as I get something in here, though, I will be happy to report on those numbers for Occidental Petroleum. Looks like they increased. Oh, no, here they go. Yeah, now we got it. They came in and missed earnings per share at $1.61 versus the $1.80 that was expected. And then revenue came in. Let's see here. They declared a quarterly dividend of 18 cents per share. Annual basis, the dividend is 72 cents per share at the new rate compared to the previous annual rate of 52 cents per share. Damn. That's a huge jump in dividends. I'm trying to find the revenue here. But that dividend announcement is crazy. Absolutely wild. So earnings came down. They missed on earnings per share. Looking to see about the revenue, but that might not matter. I think what most people are caring about right here is the dividend. Oil and gas pre-tax income came in at $2.5 billion. The estimate was 2.3. So they missed on revenue too. They missed on revenue. They missed on earnings per share, but the dividend is what's got people excited so far. So that's why you're seeing a bit of a struggle here on Occidental Petroleum. And here we have HIMS. HIMS is now up 10% after hours. Let's see what kind of numbers we got from HIMS. HIMS/hers. They beat, looks like they crushed it. Net loss of 5 cents, a penny better than the estimates. $167.2 million in revenue, $5 million better than expected. Outlook here is 735 to 755 million in revenue versus the 727 that was expected. So guidance is really crushing it, which is why the stock is up so much here. Adjusted EBITDA 20 to 30 million versus the 17.5 million that was expected. My goodness, what a beat for HIMS. Would you say that HIMS got some Viagra? I mean, that's a boner candle if I've ever seen one. HIMS took a little Viagra before this. Look, this is up now 13%. Jesus Christ. What a move on that. They crushed it. Not only did they crush earnings per share, they beat on earnings, they beat on revenue, then came in much higher on guidance than expected as well. Absolutely nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Appreciate that, sir. Is it Sir? SER, whatever it is. Appreciate the love. Says you're a good sport. All in fun, man. Yeah, absolutely. Smash the like. Yeah. Garrett's Invest Company says AMC will be bigger than HKD and GME. Listen, man, I got some bad news for you. No, it's not. They have earnings this week too, by the way, AMC, which we will be reacting to. I believe, is it tomorrow that AMC has earnings? I believe it's tomorrow afternoon. So if you guys want to react to those earnings with me and Play some violins for the AMC holders. Come hang out. The dividend M-Nice was at 72 cents annually. So it was 52 cents before. So it was a huge increase in dividend for Occidental Petroleum. Nemo Dog says, does Hims work good on your hair? Let me know. I need a solution too. It actually does. I mean, I wouldn't say that my hair's grown back because I wasn't really losing that much, but it's certainly slowed down. It's just right up here up top. You know, it's just loosening up. It's just thinning out here up top. It happens to all of us. You don't get high on your own supply, says Don Fran. I'm telling you, they need to sponsor the channel. I got to figure out how to make that happen. Don said, if only you saw all the bearish options coming on AMC today. Yeah, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. People just don't understand what debt does to a company. And this goes back to what I was talking about at the top of the show. You know, this morning we had talked a lot about Warren Buffett and the annual letter that he puts out, and he put it out over the weekend and talked about Berkshire Hathaway. And I made some arguments as to why, you know, Warren Buffett is a bit overhyped, and not necessarily because of Warren himself, but perhaps maybe just because of mainstream media. We talked about all that, but there were some things that I strongly agreed with. One of them was the stock buybacks. He talked about that a lot, and why stock buybacks have been a huge part of rewarding the investor, and why they are good, and that people that say that they're not just clearly have no idea what they're talking about. Like that spoke to me. You know, when you look at something like an AMC, for example, that dilutes the shit out of their stock. I mean, imagine what would happen if AMC actually bought their stock back and said, hey, and if Adam Aaron was actually looking out for his investors, he'd be buying back stock, but he can't because they went into debt up to their eyeballs and they have to dilute, which is why APE even came along in the first place. So it's a shitty thing. You know, people who are in AMC just have no idea what they're looking at. Christopher Barrows says, I was waiting for that boner joke. Absolutely. Buybacks are not good if the stock price is high. I mean, when you're looking at the oil companies, they're definitely not high. Occidental Petroleum is trading at 6 times next year's earnings. So it's not high at all, you know? And of course, AMC is not high for sure. There's very few companies that, I won't say there are very few companies that do that. You have to look at more than just the stock price when it comes to buybacks, in my opinion. You have to look at the actual fundamentals of the company. You know, Pioneer Natural Resources is a prime example of that. I talked about this a little bit last week. Pioneer Natural Resources is at a price that we haven't seen for quite some time, the better part of a decade. But you look at how much they're profiting and how much they're bringing in, they're giving a lot of that back to their investors. 80% of their profits goes back to those who invest in the company. And shouldn't investors get rewarded? Shouldn't people like you and me get rewarded for owning the company and believing in what they're doing and making money? Absolutely, they should. 100%. And we shouldn't be taxing that. We shouldn't be taxing companies that buy back their stock, in my opinion. AMC, Don Franz says, AMC shareholder vote to dilute. They voted, they voted what? What do you mean they voted no? They did a spinoff ape and converted that equals dilution. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. They had no idea what they were doing when they voted that in. Savvy Money Show says people are comparing oil companies to pandemic levels when oil was negative. Yes, agreed. SCR says, or I'm just going to call you sir. Sir says, how can you see what's trading over its earnings? I'm just looking at the chart. If I go to the 5-minute chart here, after hours, you can kind of see how it's moving. We can go back to HIMS, for example, and that's obviously all over the place. But up 13%. It was up as much as 15% after hours. Workday actually ended up going red here Interestingly enough, it was up as much as 5% on an earnings beat, revenue beat, and maybe guidance somehow came in and disappointed, and that's why we're starting to see a little bit more of a move down. Zoom, however, came in and crushed it. The stock's continuing to go up. The guidance here is great. The growth here is far exceeding what expectations were, and not only did they beat, but the guidance here certainly is nice as well. Zoom is doing fantastic here after hours. It's up $5 per share, sitting up around 6%. Occidental Petroleum came in and missed on revenue. They missed on earnings, and then announced a increase in dividend, which is probably what's saving the price of the stock here in after hours. It's only down 1/3%. I like Occidental Petroleum still. You know, would I go in here and go all Warren Buffett on it? No. But I think that there's still a lot to like about Occidental Petroleum and really energy in general. When I tell people to go buy energy, I always say, hey, don't just buy oil, right? Buy oil and some sort of renewable. That way you're actually owning energy, because you have a little bit of the past and you're owning a little bit of the future. Enphase, in my opinion, hands down the best renewable energy stock that's out there on the market, period. You're not going to convince me of any other company that's out there that's worth owning over Enphase. There's no other renewable energy company out there that's growing at 60% quarter over quarter. Let's not even talk about year over year. That to me, you got to own it. If you want to own energy, you want exposure to energy, you have to own Enphase, in my opinion. Obviously, this is a channel that focuses on entertainment and some education. I'm not telling you what you have to do, even though I kind of just did. But I'm just saying, like, you have to own Enphase, and then you have to own some of the non-renewables. Occidental Petroleum isn't one that you have to own, but there's other ones. I talk about Pioneer all the time just because of how much they actually give back to investors, and I think that that's great. So if you own an oil company, I would suggest owning or something in the renewable space as well. And I think Enphase is bar none the best one. Melanie Hutchison says Target. Oh yeah, Target's tomorrow morning. So I don't know if you actually tune in the mornings, Melanie, but I'll be here at 9 a.m. Eastern time to cover Target and give my thoughts on that. PDCE is good. Yeah, I agree with that. For sure. I think I know what Melanie's trying to say when Warren Buffett kicks the bucket. Yeah. Berkshire Hathaway is going to, take a big giant dump without question. Housekeeping says, I don't watch enough sports to know anything about this question. I guess meaning the poll. Athletes don't pay my bills. Well, that's fair. But sometimes you need to have a little fun in life. Snookeroo, I'll see you in the morning too, my man. Speaking of the morning, if you guys haven't checked me out in the morning, I do go live at 9 a.m. Eastern time, about a half hour before the bell. And we cover earnings that go on that in the morning, as well as any other news that's happening. So we'd love to have you guys there. The mornings has been still more slow. I don't know if it's just because people aren't awake at 9 a.m. Eastern time, because, my West Coast peeps are still trying to get their Z's in. But would love to have you guys chill with me at 9. If you're waking up, if you're driving into work, turn on the chaos. Love to have you guys. We actually, the morning show has a much different flair. I do weird news. Sometimes it has to do with money. Sometimes it doesn't. I did some really cool weird news today. If you want to know about whose birthday it is today, celebrity birthdays, all that stuff happens. And I'm not just talking about the PG birthdays. We do adult film stars' birthdays as well. And then I shout out what they're actually known for. It's pretty hilarious. Alex Ramirez wakes up for the birthdays, for sure. It's funny. Listen, there are no better titles on earth than adult film titles. They're just hilarious. They just are. So, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. Going to make it a bit of a short one. If you guys haven't checked me out over at patreon.com/ownthechaos, you can get both myself and Don from the Don Frun Show. You see him in the chat there. Tons of value at $5 a month. You're not going to want to, miss that and miss out on some of the things that we've talked about. CrowdStrike was one of the stocks that I had for this week for Stockwatch Sunday, and it's already crushing it. and it's only Monday. So make sure you guys hit me up over there at patreon.com/ownthechaos. Help support the channel, help support our efforts, and help keep things going from a content perspective. We certainly would appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. I'll see you all tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Please make sure you're there. Tomorrow's earnings, by the way, what we're going to be expecting is Target, as well as, we got Target, Norwegian, AutoZone, Clover, Advanced Auto Parts, and many other ones. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that tomorrow. And then tomorrow afternoon, of course, we'll have a slew of other ones. AMC is going to be the big dog that'll be reporting after hours. And that's going to do it for me, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your night. Love you all.